out the audio. But yeah, hey guys, good morning or good evening. Nice. All right, so it's already 10. Let's let's get started. So, um, as you guys know, whenever we start these sessions, I always look at some fundamentals and ignore this. Right now, Canvas. Oh no, it's working. Okay, nice. Okay. I will be back to doing thesis when we're done. But yeah, so right now, crypto fear and greed index is at 12, extreme fear. So we've really been chilling in extreme fear for the past week or so, which is, which is, I don't. Is it refreshing to say that we're in extreme fear? Because for a good while we were always just in greed or extreme greed. Uh, hey Vita Finis, welcome to the show. Thank you for dropping by. Um, but yeah, I can't say if it's refreshing or not. Granted, maybe not for the people who aped into longs with 1000x leverage. Probably not fun for them, but I'd argue it's kind of refreshing. Now let's look at the liquidation map or your liquidation levels, and we see on the 1 day, you got about 2 billion in long liquidations versus 3. But you can see that everyone sort of clustered in this area, so it wouldn't surprise me if we really just go left, right, left, right, left, right for quite a while. And technically speaking, that would create a bottom, right? If you just chop sideways, or if you get like a nice double bottom or V-shaped recovery, that would be a result of you chopping both sides. Let's look at the 7 day. You see that there's a big jump. Or earlier was 2 to 3. Now you've got a basically a 1 to 4 ratio, right? But you still have a lot of long liquidations over here, which is why I said I'd possibly contemplate uh, dropping my stop loss on the Bitcoin long. Granted, proper risk management and whatnot, and maybe re-enter at a lower level. 30 day, same thing. Now you've got 1.55 to about 10, right? So now it's about 1 to 5 ratio. And again, you still have some liquidations here. So we could see a little bit more downside. Granted, when I was projecting this, I wouldn't know this, but in hindsight, here we are. Let's look at your 24-hour RSI. We see that now our average RSI is actually weak. Now, typically, when we reach just here, near oversold, typically that's when a lot of institutions will just charge in and really take hold. So right now, it kind of confirms the thesis that maybe we get a little bit more pain, and it's normal, right? Even if your fear and greed index is already really low, or you're in extreme fear, a push to the downside is definitely within the realm of possibility. So yeah, hey TechWatch, welcome to the show. Uh, yeah, everyone says bull market's over. Uh, you know, it's something. It could be true, right? Granted, I don't think it's over. There's a popular thesis. There's not a popular thesis, but I heard a thesis from shoot, I forgot his name. I should really remember names better. But essentially, what he said was it's possible that we go into a mini bear market going into 2026, and when global liquidity gets much better, and uh, you have Main Street or like retail having a little bit more extra capital, then you get an extension of your bull run. So I think that's definitely possible. I wouldn't say it's not. So something I don't do, and sort of I wanted to do um, with this live, is sort of look at the total market cap, because I found it very interesting. Right, you can see that here on the 1 week total crypto cap, if you draw a trend line all the way from like the from 2023, when your rally to the top, rally to the upside started, you draw this trend line, you can see we're actually still holding trend really well. And notice how this is very similar uh to say your Bitcoin chart, right? You have that same uh low, higher high, higher high, and maybe a higher low. So the fact that your crypto cap is sort of doing the same thing, it's also bottoming out, and technically, right, whenever you get these divergences, your crypto cap follows. I think we're still in a relatively safe space. I wouldn't say it's a bear market, but I guess one thing I also want you guys to consider as we chart essentially is if we fail to reclaim, oh frick, I don't have Bravo Kit on here. Now, the problem with too many tabs, I should really work on tab management. Okay, let's just do crypto cap. Let's just chart it on the crypto cap. So one thing I want you guys to consider is, let me pull up the Bravo Kit right here. So we got our 200-day moving average, and let me get to the thing. Where is it? Is that this could possibly be a head and shoulders if we don't break above the 200-day moving average. So even if your crypto cap falls, everything falls, right? BTC is basically the biggest sort of proponent here, or biggest contributor to the market capital. But essentially, this is something Bitcoin could do. If it fails to get above the 200-day, now you've got a head and shoulders. But with your CPO plus really down, like over here, again, the last time this happened was in 2018, 2019, where we went oversold on the weekly. That sort of tells me that it's possible, right? And so it's possible that when we get to this 0.5618 retracement on your fibs, so I would set alerts here and see what Bitcoin does. If you blast all the way through like this, I see us potentially getting to my final TP. But if we reject, then prepare for maybe a $60,000 Bitcoin, not a $6,000 Bitcoin. My bad. I don't mean to scare you guys with a $6,000 Bitcoin. If BOJ hike rate short for a short period plus exactly, yeah. What do you think about yen carry trade unfolding and its impact on crypto? Well, I mean, Japan's sort of just printing more yen, right? So yen being devalued against a lot of these things, technically speaking, I would say that it does have an effect, but it's not something as crazy as maybe an announcement of quantitative easing in the US. And another thing about quantitative easing is historically when you get QE, Bitcoin kind of drops for a little while because it takes a while for that stimulation to take effect in the market. It's not like immediate boom, you've got a pump to the upside, right? And people will think there will be a pump to the upside, so it's perfect for manipulation. But yeah, let's look at the charts. This is currently the Bitcoin long I'm in. So I'd say it's still a pretty good attempt by me. I was off by, at least for this low, I was off by 2.48%. So pretty good. And right now I'm basically at negative, like, what is this times 50? Negative 15%. So it's okay. Like, it's cool. And it gives me hope that, or maybe not hope, but like confidence that your 4R double oversold. You've got your up reversal ribbon twist as well. So, some level of security. But let me change this to 5 minutes and 1 hour, since the title of the show is scalping and not swinging, right? Although now that 1 hour kind of looks scary, if I'm being honest, because, well, technically it got rejected here, but now you've got sort of a squeeze going on here. It needs to decide if it's gonna break down to the order block, or if it's gonna just range in this very tight spot, go up here, see what it does. But right now, kind of no confluence, or not enough rather. I would wait for market open. Again, I think market open today is going to be interesting. I mean, it was interesting yesterday as well. So I'd like to think today's going to be interesting. Hey, Shravan Rack, Erect and Healing. Welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom. If you have any questions or something you just like to ask, doesn't have to be coin related, let me know. Maybe I can help out. So yeah, let's look at Ethereum on the 5 minutes. So typically by my standards, right, the way I trade, this would be a bullish cross, and we did get above it. But now we're sort of in between them, so it's kind of a no trade. 4 hour. Let's bring this back down to the 1 hour. See what's up. So yeah, same thing, right? You're getting this reversal on your candle structures. So I would just wait for market open, because it's possible that it could do something like this, chop chop chop, right, and then push to the upside. Right now my bias is long because of the fact that you're oversold on your 30 minutes, your 4 hours, your 1 week. And so I'm looking more for longs than I am looking for shorts. The move to the downside is sort of exhausted already. Let's see who chatted. Yeah. So let's look at Solana. And one reason why I didn't want to make a Solana long, because right I made a Bitcoin and Ethereum long, is so that we could have, or I could have the flexibility to long and short Solana myself. So it's a bit selfish, but yeah, because I do feel like with Bitcoin sort of dropping and everything dropping, it sort of resets everything, and we didn't get an altcoin season. With Bitcoin dominance as well still being really high, the moment that drops a little, altcoins will move a little bit more. But right now it's kind of very risky to be in alts if you're holding any, just because of the fact that, I mean, just like a week ago, maybe, was it a week ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, Solana was over here, right, at 190, 197, and I shorted that down, this whole thing down to 148. So it's kind of crazy to think about, and that's a great thing as well about crypto. That stocks and bonds, you pray for a 2% move in your direction, but we can sleep and wake up and our assets have moved like 8% in every direction imaginable. Yeah. Yeah, QT ends on December 1, although I would caution about just like gigalonging on December 1. I mean, it's everyone's sort of waiting for that to happen, right? Drop to 84, then build the bottom, then pump. Yeah, it's possible. I'm not. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, right? But do you have a reason for saying 84,000 specifically? On December. Yeah, yeah. Strats are shifting exactly. Hey Sam, 2013. Welcome to the show. Uh, Yeah, let's look at ICP. So I'm still in ICP. Surprisingly, it had the strongest showing, right, compared to a lot of the other coins. Although right now it's kind of reversing from this very strong move to the top side. And like I said, take profits at 6. Uh, yeah, it like hit 6 exactly. My white line's off a little. It hit 6 exactly. I took profits, stop loss to break even. So even if this goes back to my break even, I'm not gonna cry about it. I already took profits. We are rejecting off your 618 on the 4 hour, so that is a pretty decent sign. The moment we drop all the way to maybe, let's go to a higher time frame on ICP. The moment we drop to, let's see, come on. The moment we drop to the FVG or the channel right here is when I'd probably consider just booking it and going or leaving, right? But your 30 minutes is oversold. You are getting technically a ribbon twist. It's not a guarantee that you push to the upside, right? Because your 4 hour is pointed down. But if in 1 hour 43 minutes we get a nice close with a long wick to the bottom, I'd be happy. Yeah, so far not a lot of things to look at. I did want to look at Pengu because I noticed during the drop, it was more amenable than Trump. I should have looked at Pengu as well. From the Solana chain, I feel like Trump and Pengu are at least to my strategy, they're the kindest. Although I have a funny story with Pengu. When Pengu first came out, um, what's this? When Pengu first came out, I totally forgot that I didn't place a stop loss. I was um, it was a a very small account because I just wanted to test out another exchange. Forgot I didn't place a stop loss. I thought I did. Like I typed it in, but I didn't press confirm. I just sort of pressed the top. You know how you press something and then it disappears and you think, okay, yeah. And then when I woke up that morning, all of the money I put in that exchange was gone, and I said, wait, did it glitch? What happened? And I looked at order history, and Pengu fucking liquidated me. So yeah, love hate relationship with Pengu. Well, technically it's not a hate relationship because it did make me a ton of money, right? I think I've made like 5,000 from Pengu, just like casually scalping it. So can't complain. Yeah, funny times. All right, others Bitcoin dominance. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean it is a descending wedge, and when we're this low, right, it's the perfect time to buy. And I guess uh, it is a contrarian strategy, but inherently institutions are contrarian. So something I've learned over sort of studying, and actually speaking of, so I had a test for banking, right? I actually got a 90. So I I'm not an expert, but I think I know what I'm saying when I've got a 90, right? Just maybe a subtle flex, not 90 out of 100. But yeah, so when when there's sort of euphoria or irrational exuberance, central banks tend to tell commercial banks to chill out. Like they'll raise reserve requirements and whatnot, and so commercial banks in that case would start sort of withdrawing or taking profits at that point. They're not going to be as active, right? Same thing when there's a liquidity trap. The central bank will then try to stimulate the commercial banks, tell them it's okay. You can loan out. You can do economic activity. You'll be fine. Don't worry. We got you. And then the commercial banks are like, okay, like a golden retriever, and then they start doing shit. So it's these points where the market is dying that commercial banks will be very happy to sort of step in, and institutions will be happy to step in because they're basically getting forced fire sales at this point. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Dude's a terror prof. He grades by the bell curve. So you're more likely to get a C even if you're incredibly intelligent and succinct and eloquent. You're more likely to get a C than you are to get a B plus. And most people sort of fall into the C plus range. Yeah. So yeah, getting B plus is sort of in the 80th percentile of the bell curve. So I'm not complaining. Yeah. Hey Ado, welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom. If you have any questions on any coins you want me to look at, just let me know. So we are getting market open in a couple minutes here. So right now, as you can see, there's really not a lot of move. You're just sort of chopping, right? We want a clear move, whether that's to the upside, downside, right? Because technically, when we were looking at this earlier, this looked like it wanted to go down. But you can see now we're leaving sort of wicks by the 618. I told you we could just like chop here. But if we get a clear break to the downside, we'll have to see what it does in this order block, right? Which is a bullish order block. Actually, all of the order blocks I've realized recently have bullish imbalances, right? Or they're heavily imbalanced to the green. The green, it's freaking nature. But yeah, um, we'll just have to wait and see for the moment. But essentially, like our fundamental analysis tells us, liquidity, there is some to the downside. Most of it is of course to the top side, but of course when you're at the downside, max pain, emotional capitulation, revenge trading. So it wouldn't surprise me if these guys push it to the downside, then let it breathe and it goes back up. Possible. Which other trade are you going to take, and when are you planning? So I've actually sort of listed all my trades. So there's a Bitcoin long, Ethereum long, Sui long, Ondo long. We can actually look at, of course, the ICP long, which is kind of dying. I mean, I'm still up 100%, I believe. I think. Yeah, I'm still up 100% on ICP. So still not complaining. A little drop is okay, and I've taken profits. My stop loss is at break even, so I'm not worried. So right now, technically, all we have in waiting is Ethereum at around 2,870. Uh, so when I came up with that trade, I was sort of just projecting if Bitcoin drops this much, I would expect Ethereum to drop by a smaller, but sort of close to somewhat equal proportion. But clearly, that's not what happened. And what's funny is this was my initial entry around 2,900. uh, but yeah, I would say that the Ethereum and Sui, I think the Sui's here. Yeah, this is being ethics. Let's go back to Blowfin. Yes, sir. The Sui is still valid, right? So we did get this long wick, and my entry is around 1.5. So I wanted to sort of push down further, and you can see that it's still in a downtrend. It hasn't really bottomed out. So I fully expect it to go to 1.5. For Ondo, I may reconsider just because when I initially charted that, I thought we could get a drop to 0.3. I mean, it's still possible, right? But because look at this. You're still in a downtrend. There's no clear sign of bottoming out. So this is 12 hour. Let's be fair. Let's pull up the 30 minutes maybe. 15. Right. And okay, this even looks worse. It's not even necessarily bottoming out. This is just a chop, and if I pull out a parallel channel, maybe draw like this. Right. Right, and that's just an ascending channel, and that just breaks to the downside more times than not. And you can see a measured move on the 30 minutes. Mind you, this is the 30 minutes, is all the way down to 0.47. So again, like I said earlier when we started the live, I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped a little more. It's really to induce max pain, right? Because they know traders like us exist, where we look at sort of exhaustion and whatnot, and essentially we are trying to get the bottom as much as we can. And these guys know it, so they can push until there's absolutely no one left and then send it, right? Because again, they just need to get their orders filled for their clients. I can't tell you how far we could drop. Um, well, I'm not a fortune teller. Um, we could drop further. That's all I know based on the fundamentals. It's possible a little lower. All right, let's check out Uni, um, as requested. Hold on, my earphones are about to die. Very. Oh, it's okay. It's the one connected to my phone. Okay, let's go to Uni. So to be frank, I've actually never traded Uniswap myself, so don't really know, or don't really fully know its history. But at least on the 4 hour, it does says you're technically bullish, right? You're above your dynamic reactor, and you've crossed above your quantum reactor. So I treat these as your moving averages. So this is the fast or slow one, fast or short one, and this is the long or slow one. So based on the 4 hour, you are bullish on Uniswap, but right now on the 30 minutes you're in between them, so I would say that's a no trade at the moment. And based on your CPO plus, you could see a little bit more downside, right? You could push maybe to the point of control here, and then sort of reject, maybe retest your reactors, so that's going to be at around 6.9. See what they do, possibly push back down to your support at 6.8, and then test again your support at 6.5, and that's essentially it. I wouldn't go giga long on Uniswap right now. Yeah. Can you check Zora and PivX? Sure. Check Zora. Zora USDT.P. Okay. That's interesting. So break to the downside. Now typically when you retest, you only retest up to the wedge itself, but we broke past it. So Zora does look like it's giving a lot more strength. Granted, you just touched an FVG on the 4 hour, and you are testing your previous day low. So if we get a rejection here, we'd have to wait for candle close. If it's strong and it stays above your previous day low, then you test your previous week low, and based on your CPO plus, you've got the potential to push to the upside. And so if you can close above 0.4899, and of course even better if you can close above 0.4965, and you essentially get here, then I would consider maybe taking a low leverage long based on the 4 hour. And your 30 minutes is showing that, but note that you are reaching your top extremity. So it's possible that the moment you get to the dynamic reactor here on the 30 minutes, you might reject down. So I just wait for it to test these things, get a little bit more confluence before taking a long. But it does look strong relative to sort of the rest of the market. Yeah. Let me just delete all of this. And then PivX. Alright, sure, Sam. We'll check World after PivX. Yeah, we got 1 minute before market opens, so possibly we see the volatility kick in. Alright. Sorry, is PivX just spot? Okay, so I guess it's just spot. I'll use Binance because I bet it has the longest. Okay, so oh, it's cool. So on PivX, right, shorter time frames, you are overbought, you got bearish div, but you are sort of flipping green. All right, and so this is sort of scary for me when your quantum reactor is above your dynamic reactor, right? Because that tells me your long moving average is above, but you are bullish. But typically, excuse me, when your quantum reactor is above your dynamic reactor, you're more likely to just go back here and then drop. You basically, if you retest your quantum reactor, you don't have a strong base underneath. Whereas if you get the dynamic reactor above, retest that quantum reactor, you're more likely to bounce off of it. But anyways, it does look bullish on the 4 hour. You are above your zero line, and you are flipping. You also bounced off your fluid zero line here on your momentum or your MVP ribbon, and this candle structure is bullish if we can close 0.311 on the 4 hour. So personally, granted, right, since this is a spot buy because there's no swap or there's no futures. Oh, it's a market open. Let's see what. Oh, okay. So push to the upside, volatile, push to the downside, as expected. No, not really as expected, but like the sentiment, the volatility is there, right? You get a push to the upside, retail longs, and then now they're getting liquidated as they long pretty late. And yeah, I mean, look at that. That's basically engulfing right now, right? Sometimes you really can't trust these things. FVG was just taken out. And then, yeah, this disgusting manipulation right there. Let's look at ICP. ICP also pushed, drop, but okay, yeah. So just set an alert for if you close above your previous day high, so that's at 0.3. If you do, then potentially, right, this is a nice, uh, this is a nice um, high, high or low, and then you could potentially push, right, maybe retest your previous week high. You'd have to break above your previous week high and then push to the premium and then see what happens. So again, I just really wait and see if we close above the previous day high. All right, let's check out World. What's the ticker for World? Is it just World? Or how do I... what's the ticker for World, Sam? Hey McBain, hey DB Cooper, welcome to the show. Thanks for dropping by. And I'm sorry your name's truncated, but your profile picture looks like an NFT. Welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom, and yeah, thanks for dropping by. I do appreciate it. Yeah, just World. Okay, it's just called World. So, oh, like WLD. Is that what you mean, WorldCoin? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I just noticed WLD. I didn't know the name was World. Although, I hindsight probably should have figured that out. But yeah. So, looking at WLD, so you are getting a low, right? So, on the 30 minutes, this could work, right? This looks like it could be an inverted head and shoulders. And you sort of suddenly got this spike in money flow right around here, which is interesting. Granted, you are facing heavy money outflow on your 4 hour, and you haven't even tested your fluid zero line. You are getting rejected from your dynamic reactor, so it's possible you drop again. But it does look bullish, more bullish than a lot of other coins right now. So if you chart this, right, it can be something like this, something like that, right? Probably not the most perfect head and shoulders, if I'm being honest, but again, it does look bullish because you've basically changed the trend if you can sort of close above where you are right now and you don't get rejected. So looking good. I'd actually maybe consider longing WLD, but I will wait for what happens on this candle close on the 30 minutes. And yeah, because if we get if we do get an inverted head and shoulders like I personally see, then we could possibly enter here at the POC rather than enter up here. And of course, every single time you want a better entry, right? Better entry, more profits, and you can better tailor your risk. So yeah. All right. Let's go back to Bitcoin. So we are pumping now, and it's great. Ethereum is also pumping, but we're overbought on the 5 minutes. Solana's pumping, measured move to 140. ICP is pumping, but I mean, it's like okay, maybe it's not fair. Let's go to the 5 minutes. Oh, yeah, you know what? That's a good move. That's a good move to the upside. So yeah, although I'm not liking the wicks. Bitcoin to the 5 minutes also going overbought potentially. You're losing your bullish trend strength, right? But so far it looks like the trades I've called are doing pretty well in terms of like longs. So let me just open my exchange right here and sort of look at where I'm at. So ICP still up 100 20%, and BTC's up 44% on the trades. So okay, maybe I should lower this. So I entered at 91,388 around here. So looks like it became the POC on the 5 minutes, which is nice. But yeah, so far, right? Runaire, Nas, and I basically said go long, and looks like the market's reacting pretty well to what we're saying. The question then becomes, is this a sustainable push to the upside, or is it going to be a sort of a relief bounce? We go back down and we really bottom out, right? Because this could go up, down, boop, right? Could be your double bottom W recovery, or this could be your V-shaped recovery. Who knows, right? Technically, as traders and sort of analysts, we have to consider multiple possibilities. As Alex says, if this, then that. I thought that was gonna be cooler, and I wouldn't fumble that, but here we are. But yeah, so typically, right, when we get these moves, we also have to approach it with a bit of skepticism. When trading, skepticism doesn't hurt, right? Being a little skeptical of certain moves is always more beneficial than just believing, right? 100% trust is never a great thing, especially in such a speculative market. So as it stands, let's look at higher time frames, and let's try to get a trade in this session, because you guys are all here. Might look at Solana. Okay, it almost hit the smart target, right? Let's look at Solana. But yeah. Oh, look at that. My measured move prediction played out. Actually, when I shorted Solana at 170, I fully expected it to go to 130. But then I sort of got stopped here, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just put it to 148. I got it. I walked away happy. Made a lot, and then now it's at 130. Some, kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah. Show chat. Up till 97k, lower high, and let's scale 10k CME gap. Yep. I would be very happy if we get to 97k right now. Do I think Bitcoin can go higher this week? Maybe to back to 100? Anything's possible. But we'd have to ask, what incentive would there be for both Wall Street and Main Street to get into Bitcoin again? Because for Main Street, or for people like us in extreme fear, we're basically tired, or most of us are tired. I mean, if you've been listening to us, or at least taking what we've been saying, then ideally you shouldn't be tired. You should be optimistic. You should be excited because we're getting discounted prices. But for there are people who aren't in Chart Prime and sort of are just looking at the nominal value of prices, they're probably really hurting, especially if they bought at the tops, right? Because what is today? It's 18, so 11. Just a week ago, Solana was at 170. Like, you can't tell me that is not a great place to be. And if you bought here, it sucks for you, because from 170, you've dropped 25%. You're basically 25% drawdown. So yeah, what could we possibly get into right now? It's possible that we could short the pullback here, but I would be a little hesitant because of the 1 hour. So if the 1 hour can move high enough within the session, maybe we can get a short. But right now, kind of tough. Solana's struggling. Like, here on the 5 minutes, it's just leaving wicks. If in 3 minutes it can't close or make a higher, if it can't close above this body or make a higher wick, that's concerning. That means the move is exhausted, and we can possibly to just short it a bit, back to maybe 136 or enter 136. So yeah. All right, let's see who else is in the show. Uh, hey, bye Felicia. Hey, Paolo. Welcome to the show. Thanks for dropping by. Check XRP. Oh yeah, you're right. I keep forgetting XRP exists, which is a terrible thing. I also left that because I have a positive sort of view on XRP, right? Why do I forget about XRP? But yeah, XRP. Um, let's see. We are on the premium zone in the 5 minutes, so we got rejected heavily. That's one rejection, three rejections. Uh, but we did get our bullish cross on the 5 minutes where the dynamic reactor got above your quantum reactor. Our buy zone's right here, equilibrium's right here. But on the 1 hour, it's not looking that great. So we got rejected from the 618 quite terribly, right? It's possible we close at it and ideally close above it, but if you get rejected from your 618 at this point, then expect to go down. So again, right now I'm being a little cautious when scalping because the market's out for scalpers like us. I would say right now when there's when there's because volatility is your friend when you're scalping, right? But volatility is also your biggest enemy. It's like a sailor and the sea, right? A lot of activity in the waves is a great thing. It pushes your vessel, but too much. But when there's a storm, then you could fly overboard or your ship can sink. So it's something we have to keep in mind. So right now the 1 hour is pointed down. Now, right, the scenarios when it does this is we could do this or we could do this. One of the two. Right? So we have to determine, is it this scenario or is it this scenario? If it's this scenario, then a possible place to enter based on the close based on the close would probably be somewhere like here at okay, disclaimer, not an official endorsement, just stating an idea, right? If it goes like this, then a possible place to enter would be where this wick was and the most traded price was 2.15, and then your stop loss below this, and you're basically being taken care of by the support, previous day low, and a little bit of the discount, right? If you want to be lower, fine, then it's cool. And then right 1 to 2 risk to reward, you were right smack dab at the bearish order block, and you would be testing your POC and dynamic reactor. So, and surprisingly, your most traded price happens to be at equilibrium, which is cool. And on the 5 minutes, you're being supported by your buy zone as well. So right now, let's see how the 1 hour closes. If it closes nice, we can enter either here or here, right, depending on what we see. But I would just be a little bit careful at the moment. It got ETF now. It should be $100. Really? XRP to $100. That would be interesting. Actually, I'm curious. Do you guys still think the big three are BTC, Ethereum, and Solana? Because I see people saying that XRP's gotten past Solana. I just want to know your thoughts. If you think XRP now just kicked Solana out of the bucket. Although it would be weird because it's at $2. But then again, BCH is BCH. Morning, little fish. Yeah, let me look at who's in the show. So yeah, looks like little fish dropped by, so thank you. Never been a fan of XRP. Oh, to each your own. Yeah. Valid. Okay. But yeah. I think more likely than not, right? Because we still got 15 minutes on the close. I think we can do something like this. I feel I'm more optimistic about a scenario like this going oversold, but in price action that'll translate to a push to the downside, maybe a retest, because we're not getting above this candle on the 5 minutes. So I don't know if I want to call it. I could call it because it does look good on paper. If I'm being honest, I like what I'm seeing. So let's just wait for this candle to close. If it drops below the dynamic reactor, then I'm calling it. And yeah. So what I'm looking for on this scalp is like 2.157158 or above equivalent 155. Stop loss at 2.1 below this lower low, which is below the discount zone and at your discount zone on the 5 minutes. And then you take profit at around your final take profit will be here at your order block on the 1 hour at 2.26. So yeah. But yeah, it looks like it would go to entry. So yeah, do I want to call it 10 minutes? I guess while I'll let that stew, let's look at how everything else is doing. Yep. So right back at entry. I was up like 20% earlier, and now we're right back at entry. ICP's not. ICP's still doing okay. Why is this the 5 minute? Yeah, ICP's still doing okay, relatively speaking. Staying above the 618, which is nice. Alright, okay, let's look at Ethereum. Same thing, overbought, drop. Solana couldn't get, almost got to the smart target. Wild. XRP. So, we are showing a little bit more strength, right? But we are getting rejected from sort of the levels we made yesterday, because previous day high, we got long wick to the top side, boom, just break. But we are trying to be strong, right? Even on BTC 5 minutes, we're bullish, at least bullish cross, right? Same with Ethereum, 5 minutes bullish cross. So lower time frames are trying to wake up. They're trying to kick us up. XR. Oop, what is? Okay. No. Okay. Let's go back to WLD. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, yeah. POC rejected from previous day high. Sort of playing out. Nope. XRP, ICP, lots of P's. Alright, let's go back to XRP, see how it's doing. Alright, now we've got a hidden bearish div on XRP 5 minutes. I'm kinda hesitant now to call this, because you got a lot of room to basically break to the downside if we twist and go down. Right, lots of room. It's possible we ignore this hidden bearish div, but it's important that we see it, because that informs our understanding of what I drew earlier, which is, do we go down like this, or do we go up like this? And if your lower time frames are showing a downward reversal, hidden bearish, then you're more likely to break to the downside. Hey Roofy Punch, welcome to the show. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. Let's see here. So Bitcoin is showing a bit more strength again. Right. But if you have such a long wick to the top side on the 1 hour, that just tells me we're going back down to these levels. Minimum. So actually, that might be a great opportunity to sort of long here or here, right? If we get a reversal or topping candle, we could long here. But again, I'd still caution, because it's definitely possible we revisit lower than 86. It's possible. Anything's possible, right? I'm just adopting a reactive scenario, a reactive approach. Because, well, a reactive approach is safer because a proactive approach, you could be wrong, right? Obviously, you try to be as right as you can, right, when you're forecasting. But when you're scalping, I would say reactive is best because you just go proactive every single time. You'll probably lose. Okay, let's go XRP. All right, I think we should call it quits. Don't do the XRP because this could go lower, right? So if we do want to long XRP, we'd have to enter lower. And yeah, look at that. We got our red. We got a twist right here. So do not do the XRP scalp. That tells us we're going lower. So yeah. I don't know if that was useful. Like sort of the mindset I have when scalping, which is just really wait and see what it does and sort of envision the ways in which things can move. But yeah, okay. Let's see how BTC. So I'm back in drawdown on BTC. ICP is also dropping. Oh, joke. These are jokes right now. But yeah. So, like last Wednesday, this is gonna be a 1.5 hour stream because I just have a thesis to do. But tomorrow is gonna be a full 2 hour stream, and I would expect a little bit more movement just because technically we do have FOMC on Thursday, right? So yeah. Okay. Really, it's just the waiting game. This is the boring part of scalping. Just the waiting. Oh, damn it. Okay. Yeah, let's just wait for candle close and make a decision there. I wonder if we can still get our projection. Okay, we can still get our projection. But yeah, how is everyone? I hope your spot bags, if you have any, are doing okay. Are you guys in longs or shorts? Essentially, what do you think of the market right now? I'd like to sort of get to know what you guys are thinking. Yeah. Don't be shy. Soul short. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Bought a dip at 89.6. Got some small positions. Nothing big. 0.5% of port slash trip. Nice. Nice. If I sort of DCA, I would probably DCA at like 83. If we even get to 83. If we even get to my 84.5, right? But yeah, probably do that. Right now it's just a lot of DCAing in, I would say, just building up your longs. But if you're short, then that's great, right? You're still making profit from the fact that we're going down, and then just know when to sort of reduce the position and exposure. Still paper trading BTC and learning. Nice. Well, if there's any questions you have on sort of the suite, like the Chart Prime Oscillator Pro Plus, or how to get your Fluid Zero line on the MVP ribbon, just let me know and we can sort of go over it right now. But yeah, nice to see paper trading for sure, which is the smart way of learning. Yeah, exactly. I did not paper trade when I was starting out, but because I only used very little, for me it felt like the stakes were high, but in reality they weren't. It was like what, half a dollar per trade. Like the position was worth, the margin was half a dollar, and then the position was worth like nothing. Yeah, absolutely. No emotion. Yeah, exactly. No emotion involved with paper trading. It does help build the mindset. Okay, so interesting. These are interesting. Okay. See how this 1 hour closes. I just want to see what the neck or how this ribbon is gonna move on the close in 2 minutes. Emotional damage. I love Stephen Huh. Like, love him. I watched him when he was just starting out. Just great. I love the guy. Yeah, and now he's like incredibly popular. He's a household name. So yeah. Oh, Uncle Roger. Yeah. Actually, my dad's name is Roger. So whenever I hear Uncle Roger, I just think of my dad. Uh, do I think that, although my dad does have a little bit of, or had quite a bit of the mannerisms Uncle Roger showed, like the whole uh, leg up, and then if he puts it down, that means he's angry or something. Yeah. Oh, oh, that's wonderful. Ah, well, I guess that's something we have in common. Yeah. Actually, that's why my name is, well. Okay, it's not recorded. That's why my name's Raj, because it's just my parents' name. It's like a Roger and Josephine, so Raj. But then people mistake me for being Indian. um, so yeah, my first name is Raj Alexander. So like I don't know. It's very popular in the Philippines to have two first names or like a second name. So it is what it is. What do you think on shorting Aster? I've been called many names. All right. Hold on. Let's look at Aster on candle close. So I'll just wait for candle close and then chat and I'll go look at Aster. Big fish. I remember back in seventh grade, my classmates would just like come up with the like different ways to say my name. Just the whole board was just full of my name because I was class president and they sort of wanted to troll me during Teachers Appreciation Day. So yeah, okay, canceled XRP, right? Because we got the twist in the ribbon. Let's look at Aster. Aster is something I didn't like touch. I didn't want to touch, right? I did long Aster, before I got to Chart Prime, right? So for a while I was looking at it, but yeah, right now I would say longing Aster is probably not the best idea. Oh, sorry, shorting Aster is not the best idea. Um, just because your CPO plus is over here, so fully expect that you might get a bounce again because right now Aster's just, by the looks of it, this is just pure manipulation. This is just ranging, right? So if it breaks to the downside, then absolutely, because your 1 hour is bearish. But if it goes back here, then consider maybe um, consider whether or not it breaks on the order block or breaks through it and then tests the premium, and then if it rejects here, you can short. If it rejects here, you can short. But I do think overall sentiment right now on the 1 hour does say short it, especially because relatively speaking, you are making higher. Let's grab a trend line, right? You are making. That's probably the ugliest, but it's in an uptrend. Sorry, I got lazy to fix that, but it's in an uptrend, right? You got a bottom, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and so if you this is a higher high technically, right? But then if it sort of ranges like this, then maybe if we zoom out, we can probably see something interesting. Right, let's zoom out a bit. Zoom out. So I didn't mean to leave that. I'd say maybe 4 hour would be enough. Excuse me. Oh, interesting. So the 4 hours says you're still bullish, you could possibly go up. So this looks more like a correction on the 1 hour, right? Granted, if you want to short the correction, that's a thing, but you'd have to basically have a very tight stop loss or have a very tight take profit. If we go to the 12 hour, right, it does look like you're sort of in a move, because right, just this could end up being actually, it doesn't look like much, if I'm being honest, just a bird. But you did touch the FVG, but you do have room to push to the upside. So maybe if you're gonna short it, it's like a short-term short. But yeah, just be wary of what happens on the 4 hour. Obviously, if it breaks here, then yeah, absolutely, right? If we close in 1 minute, you could short that. I'd still be a little bit skeptical. Maybe an idea you could do if it breaks is like entry and then stop loss. This is an idea, not an official endorsement of a trade, right? And then maybe, just maybe, right, maybe you get to equilibrium from here, but you might want to consider stopping right before your 618 on the 1 hour, right? And then if we map this onto the 4 hour, right, doing multi-time frame analysis, then you'd basically be retesting your previous high, which is good, right? Retesting a previous high. So yeah, I'm still working on being pre-rich. ADA. All right, let's check out ADA. So Cardano, I did make a lot of money off Cardano. I think a lot of people have made a lot of money off Cardano. But right now, it kind of looks disgusting. What is that? Hold on. Let me just turn this off. What is that? Oh man, it looks like a worm. But anyways, let's see. I think Cardano's kind of following BTC in the sense that it could go lower, right? So if I pull up BTC again, yeah, definitely could go lower. Not the right BTC I wanted, but there you go. Yeah, it could go lower. You did get a little bit of a bullish push, but you really just stayed above the dynamic reactor. Wasn't worth it. Right, and this could just be sort of a top continuation to the downside. But I guess if I had to extrapolate or make an inference on what your entry could be from here, let's just see what it's like. Yeah, your 30 minutes still got room to move down. But what I'm looking for, right, is I want a scenario in which we get to the dynamic reactor again and get to retest it. The closer the moving averages are, or the reactors are to price, the better, because that means it'll be easier for them to break through when we retest or when we get there. So let's see if, come on, indicators, load. Nice. So your discount zone is here, which means if we want a nicer entry, we could probably look at a higher time frame. Heavy money outflow on the 12 hour. So it does say that your next support on Cardano is all the way at 0.3862, which is actually, if you zoom out, that's sort of 70% of the wick, right? So theoretically, this would be a great place to go long. So I might actually call that. So I'll probably review, right? I'll do a little bit more research, but this would be a pretty decent place to go long, right? And then your stop loss, like right here, right? And then you ride it all the way back up. Would be a pretty interesting place to go long here on 0.3856, and you basically fill out 70% of your wick. So I think ICP's done. I think ICP's gonna die actually, but let's see how we close on the 4 hour. But I mean, we won't get to see it because I'm ending the live in 23 minutes. Solana's pushed back up. I'm assuming Bitcoin's pushed back up. Yeah. So one thing I want you guys to know for the new traders here, right? For maybe the seasoned traders, we know this is basically market manipulation. You push price up, or you push price to one side, then you suddenly violently push it to one side, and then you suddenly push it back to the upside. That is just pure manipulation, right? Because without any volume or anything, price sort of just goes through the algorithm, chops, right? And then it chops in a very predictable way. There's no massive moves to one side. And if price is just moving as it intends to, you get a nice clear rally, maybe a pullback because obviously exhaustion, and then you continue. But when you have this on your time frames, and essentially, right, when what gets translated on higher time frames is just a wick. On lower time frames, this is pure treachery, right? So this market's really against scalpers at the moment, which is why, as much as I'd like to give a scalp call, I can't give it with confidence, and I don't want you guys to lose your hard-earned cash as well. Like, again, not financial advice, and technically, I can't. I with all the disclaimers, I don't expect to be held liable for losses, but I'd feel terrible if I gave a trade and, it was still a calculated loss, yes, but I'd feel terrible if I gave you guys a trade and it ended up losing. Like, terrible. But yeah, when you look at the liquidation map, what is more important, cumulative or taller bars near the current price? So the taller bars is basically how much leverage people are putting on that price. So what's important when analyzing it, right, is where's your red line? Is it closer to, which bars are it closer? Is it closer to? Because that red line is going to be attracted to the bars that are higher, or like that are bigger. But on sort of a macro scale, you also have to think about, so where is the long term, or where is the line more likely to go tomorrow? In which case, it will go to the cumulative, whoever has the higher cumulative leverage. So right now, when you've got bars like this and it's very close to price, it really just wants to chop, right? But we know in terms of the cumulative leverage that it's going to go to the top side eventually. So that's sort of how I analyze it, and I think that's a good rule of thumb as well. Because you might think, oh, there are more long liquidations, let's ape into, there are more short liquidations, let's ape into a long, because we know it's going to go to the top side. But you have to consider, what if you're one of the people in the downside who are on like 100x leverage? Then the market's easily going to try to take you out before it goes to the top side, right? It's unpredictable. It's predictable in the sense that every indicator is telling you you're going to go to the top. But it's unpredictable in the sense of, how will it get there? Will it kill you first? Will it go down first, flash wick, and then go to the top side? Or will it just go to the top side? You don't know. And so you have to prepare for the possibility that it goes for your downside first. Yeah. Hey, Boosted Boy. Hey, Grit. Hey, Car Crypto. Actually, it's been a while since I've seen you, Boosted Boy. Welcome back. And Gert, it's always lovely to see you. Car Crypto, welcome to the show. I'm Langstrom. If you guys have any questions, just let me know, and I'd be happy to help, whether that's a coin or anything from Chart Prime. What's up? Well, pure market manipulation, as usual. It's very hard to call scalps when essentially you've just got boom, 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 right? And there's not a lot of clear direction. Yeah. There's no sound? Wait, can you guys hear me? Yeah, I can be heard, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, of course. Anytime, DB. But yeah. Uh, how's ICP doing? Yeah, ICP's just dropping. I guess it's sort of over. Uh, with a close like this in 47 minutes, if it doesn't go up, I'll probably announce the close ICP for whatever profits people are still in. I think right now people should still be up like 90%. It's still about 100% up. So sucks because we were all the way up like how much? Close to 270%, and I did take some profits at the top, so can't complain. And zero risk, so really nothing to complain about. How was your yeah, I got a 90. Look at that. 90. Yeah. And this guy grades by the bell curve, so getting a 90 is actually like spectacular. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you here as well. I remember seeing on call that you had a recording of how you have your setup. It's pinned in my signals chat. So if you go to my signals chat, at the top ribbon thing, there should be like a pinned icon. It's there. It's there. So just yeah. Thank you, Dagaditi. I'm always grateful to have you send that in, because I actually don't know how to send that um or how to link it in chat. So thank you. Real savior right here. Yeah. The unsung hero of Chart Prime. Yeah, I feel like too many people are calling for bear market. Yeah, exactly. So again, it's something I said earlier. I think it got lost in trading chat, but I said it up earlier. Essentially, right, when you've got the macroeconomic, sort of how we term it is, uh, a self-fulfilling prophecy. When people think that a bear market is coming, they suddenly short because they think a bear market is coming. And when people think a bull market is coming, they go long because they think a bull market is on, right? But the thing is, a lot of people will do this at the tops and at the lows and at the tops respectively. Whereas the central bank or banking in general, how it works and market psychology is you want to be counter cyclical rather than pro cyclical, which is why the contrarian trading style uh, is a popular trading style for a lot of economists and bankers, because it's essentially how you're taught in economics. You want to be counter cyclical because if you're gonna be pro cyclical, you're going to exacerbate downswings and upswings, and essentially the economy is going to go to shit if everyone thinks that a bear market's on. They short, they pull out their money, you get a bank run, and yeah, the economy is going to go to shit. So banks are specifically mandated by central bank, and even commercial banks will do this on their own volition, to have a little bit of excess reserves ready, or maybe tighten up reserve requirements during bull run so that they can build up a buffer, and then when suddenly there are downturns, they can now buy back in, and they can get stuff. They can get stuff at basically forced fire sale discounts. And so that's essentially what's happening, right? We got to the top 120 126k. Everyone's happy, and that's when I was like, okay, we gotta consider maybe shorting. And shorts work. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I think all my short signals paid out. Literally, the only long signal I sent got SL'd, but all the shorts I did got paid out. We all got paid from that. Ideally, I hope you guys followed me on those trades. But yeah, we all got paid out from the shorts, right? And now that we're at extreme fear, there's tons of liquidity to the upside. We're exhausting our bearish moves. Everyone thinks there's a bear market. You know, now we've got news that quantitative tightening is ending. Doesn't mean we automatically go to the moon, right? But it means that there are efforts by institutions to essentially re-enter, put their skin in the game, buy at forced fire sale discounts, and maybe we see some top side. Does that mean we go back to 126? No. We could stop somewhere, right? I think I showed it earlier. Um, Actually, let's just do a naked chart. I have this right naked chart. Let's turn the Bravocate off. Let's dynamics as well. Just too many, and I get lazy to remove some of the old ones. But right, it's possible that this thing right here could be a Head and Shoulders. Right, it's possible. Right, it can be right if we don't break above your 618, or actually maybe I should have kept the Bravo the right. It's possible if you don't break above this and you reject, then yeah, you could have a real bear market on your hands and you head down. That's possible, and it's fine. But the likelihood of it being a complete bear market when you're oversold, and the last time this happened was in 2019, and after that, from a measly $3,000, you had a Bitcoin that went up to $14,000, which retraced and then skyrocketed to $60,000. I'm not buying that we're ending this market in extreme fear, or that the retail mindset is gonna win, because why would the retail mindset win when you've got banks who know that this is an opportune time to enter, right? Opportune time to enter, and we've had multiple weeks close under the 200-day moving average. Granted, right, the delta between this, right, and this is much greater. I don't think anyone can deny it, right? From this low to the moving average is shorter or less than this low to the moving average here. But that doesn't mean that we're not getting a push. And mind you, on this low, we weren't even oversold. But we are in this low. Bearish trend strength is weakening. Your bearish volume is almost gone, right? And every time we get here, notice the volume always spikes. Institutions move and you push to the upside, right? Let's just be real. These institutions probably just took profit, gave it to their clients. Clients are happy, and now the clients want more money because, if you have more money, then, or if you can have more money, why not, right? So they're just waiting for an opportune time to step in, get at a better price. Because if they get a price here and they got it like 75,000, why not get price at 88,000, right? And then push it back up to the top side. It's when you break it down, it suddenly becomes clearer what's probably happening. So yeah, all right, let's see what's up. Right click. My last fire sale was C19 March. It was the balls deep all in. Nice. Right click. Okay, I'll remember that. I promise. So the next time you see someone ask, just give me like, and if I answer, just give me like 2 minutes to navigate, okay? I'll get it. I promise. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, okay, wait, we're at 92.6. Really? Huh. Look at that. How fun. Yeah. Look at that. That's fun. It's so sad. I literally just reached a measured move. So if you could handle the drawdown there, then yeah, I mean, pure manipulation, right? Just barely enough, then gets you on your stop loss and brings you back to your take profit. It is what it is. Let's look at ADA. Well, that's fun. That's a very big candle, and all the volume, or all the traded prices at the bottom. So yeah, when people tell you it's the bear market, I mean, I'm not saying people don't have valid ideas, right? I'm just saying that we should all take the information we consume with a grain of salt, do our own research, investigate, and I might be wrong, right? I might be wrong, but my whole test last weekend, I have another test on banking again, sort of next week or 2 weeks from now. It took a university to teach these things to me. So I'm not saying that just because you don't have a university degree or a degree or you didn't take up economics then you have no right to be a trader. No, that's not true, right? But it is information that elucidates our understanding of how this market works, and that is useful. That is very useful as a trader, and we should use whatever tools we've got. Right, we've got the best TA. Right, I don't have to worry about my TA being inaccurate or being messy. I got Chart Prime, so we should work on our FA, international finance, our understanding of banks, and then we've we've got a very holistic toolkit that's not just our indicators or our trading view, but it's also us as an individual, and that helps us time things related to crypto, stocks, bonds, real estate, forex, whatever you trade. So yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, your name's truncated again. I really hate this, but yeah. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for dropping by. We still have 7 minutes in the show, so hopefully I can dish out some useful or some valuable info. Do you recommend ActiveSL? Uh, in theory, trailing stops are great, right? In theory, uh, but I know only some exchanges offer trailing stops. If you can incorporate trailing stops into your strategy, that's fantastic, right? So that you don't really have to worry about, having to move your stop loss to break even, because that can happen, or it can basically revisit your break even while you're asleep. So trailing stops are great. I just don't have it on the exchanges I trade on, and I've just never had it work for myself. But if you can get it to work for you, then absolutely use a trailing stop. Because I'm a big proponent of risk management. So, of course, there are other traders who, in terms of risk to reward, are going to be more profitable than me. In terms of frequency of trades, are probably going to have more than me. And then in terms of maybe accuracy in entries, there are traders that are more like that are probably better than me. I mean, Runair is probably a better sniper than me. Uh, I'm I'm proud to admit that, because I mean, he's not my fellow pro analyst for a bad reason. He's here because, well, yeah. So yeah, I mean, but what I can always be confident and proud about is that no matter what, I've got probably one of the best risk managements in the game. Maybe that's self glazing, maybe that's a bit prideful, but I mean, you guys saw my liquidation price. It's at 20,000 Bitcoin. I'm at 50x leverage, or $20,000 on 50x leverage. Like, my liquidation is so far removed that I don't even have to worry technically. So risk management, very important. And the thing is, if I put a little bit more capital into the exchange I'm on, that 20,000 drops even lower. So technically, within that time span, I can basically put my liquidation to to be unlikely or zero, right? I think my liquidation in ICP literally says liquidation unlikely, like right here. See, liquidation unlikely. It doesn't even think I can get liquidated on ICP. So yeah, risk management, very important in trading. It's sort of the skill that not a lot of crypto influencers will talk about, and it's something that you really have to learn, like actively learn how to manage your risk. Yeah. We still got 4 minutes on the show, but things sort of stalled. I mean, we're all going long now. I'd watch out because we are overbought on Bitcoin, right? So once we reach this order block, just set an alert. If we break through it, then we're happy with our longs. If we reject, get prepared for some downside, right? Yeah. So DB Daga all in 1,001x long, 10%. No, no, 1,001%. Don't. No, that's the exact opposite of what I'm saying. Last time Fear Index was this low in Feb price, but the price still went down. Yeah. So it definitely can happen, right? So another thing about sort of the market and market conditions is that they want to induce max pain. And I've talked about pain zones before. So, right, this technically right here on Bitcoin 5 minutes is a pain zone. So if I just pull up a box, right, rectangle, this right here is a pain zone. And why is it a pain zone? Most people, right, this is a place in which people went long and short, just chalk, right? It's a pain zone because people who went short are now sort of, they're either liquidated, they're either dead, or they're hoping Bitcoin goes back down, right? This right here is a pain zone. So people are now, when they see this move, they're going long. They're aping into longs. Let's maybe pull. Oh, we can probably pull out the liquidation map again. So I'm fully expecting longs to push up a little bit. So maybe not on the 30-day. Oh no, it did exactly. So more people are going long right now, and so I fully expect that we make another pain zone at the top, then drop the price. It could happen, right? If we want to build a stronger low, we drop the price again. Build the low, see if it holds. But the point is, this market wants to induce pain. It's not it's not meant to be kind to us. We are plankton in an ocean of whales. And as plankton, we can either ride with the whales, with the institutions, or we get eaten by them. So it's really up to us because we can choose whether to get in their mouths, right, and just carefully just walk through it or swim through it because we're in the ocean, walk through the ocean, or we cling onto the side and they bring us to. I was about to say fresher waters, but then I'm pretty sure whales would die and plankton would die in fresher waters. So, and greener waters don't sound better. So, clearer waters. There we go. That's probably better, right? Cleaner waters. Yeah. So, like divs can div more. Yeah. Danger. Yeah. Divs can div more. We should quote that. I will use that with your permission. So yeah. Now that we're approaching the end, let's look at Bitcoin where we are. So we have a pain zone right here, possible place that we revisit. Long wicks to the top side. We're approaching overbought. Same thing for Ethereum. Same thing with Solana's not approaching overbought. ICP is still strong. So in general, guys, just be careful, right? We know that the market's gonna, or at least within a month, we know that the market's gonna go up. At the very least, we know that we're gonna probably retest your 200-day moving average, your 50 EMA, your 200 EMA, whatever MA you use. We're probably gonna do that because we've got max exhaustion and we're oversold on even the weekly. But that doesn't mean we're going to the moon, and you just have to be careful. So yeah, no scalp trades today, unfortunately, because of how treacherous this was, and I wasn't confident with throwing in a signal. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. If I see any potential longs, I will of course tag all of you through my channel. But yeah, thank you for dropping by my show. I do appreciate it. Hey, High Upon a Rock, you're late. I'm about to end the show already. Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Don't worry, I'll be here with you all tomorrow, and tomorrow's gonna be a 2-hour show. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for dropping by. I'm Langstrom, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.